This woman has done a lot. Her name is Tania Montanez Andre. I'm hoping I'm saying her middle name right. Or
You're saying it.
okay. She's the founder and CEO of the Mavano Project in South Florida. She's a survivor, a fighter, a woman who took what tried to break her and build a mission from it. She's out here saving kids, protecting families, walking into schools and correctional facilities, and teaching people how to spot trouble before it even gets close. Under her leadership, the Mavano created Safe Schools, Safe Kids, Safe Communities, a program that is now inside Miami-Dade and Broward County schools, backed by national foundations and touching thousands of young people. She's worked with NFL players, governmental leaders, churches, schools, the whole community. She's spoken all across the country. She's even co-owner of a cybersecurity firm. This woman turning trauma into purpose. This is real service, y'all. This is who we're talking to today. Tania, welcome to Common Ground.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and share with you all.
Well, look, I want to just start off like this. I want to say thank you because most people, when they have trauma, they don't know how to deal with it, and they don't know how to take that trauma and turn it into positivity. And what you've done literally has changed lives of many people. So let's start off with what you've done as far as when you walk into these schools and correctional facilities. What's the first thing that you look for?
So, thank you for asking that question. Well, the first thing that we look for is that we look to educate. We are a prevention focused, education focused organization. So when we go into schools, we educate children as young as even third grade, all the way up through high school. And we teach them on tactics that these traffickers and pedophiles are doing in order to lure them into a very criminal lifestyle of like human trafficking, pedophilia, child pornography. So we give them the tools that they need to empower them to say no, and feel like they can take matters into their own hands and not feel like just because of their age or because of their emotional stability that they can't stand up for themselves and that they don't have a voice.
Tanya, a lot of people, this is on Sirius XM, so it's heard all around the country, every state. It's heard in Canada, and a lot of people may not realize how prevalent and how big of a problem human trafficking is in this country. So I want to talk a little bit about that because we got national awareness coming up in January, but why should people be looking and talking to their children about human trafficking?
Well, human trafficking is the fastest growing crime in the country. It's over $150 billion industry, surpassing arms
Wait
in
a
the
minute. Hold
U.S.
on.
right
Wait,
now.
wait, wait, wait. We got to stop right here. We got to stop right there. Did you say 150 billion?
Dollar industry. That is
Oh
correct.
my God. Oh my God. Okay. Please finish.
Yeah.
I just want people to realize how much money is involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
150 billion.
$1 billion industry, and it's surpassing. It's more than that, but we know statistically that it's at least about and over a little over $150 billion industry. In the state of Florida, in which I'm in, Florida is number 3 in the cut in the US right now. When it comes to reported cases of human trafficking, we're number 3 in the nation right now. And the United States is the leader in the demand pandemic that we're having when it comes to trafficking, because this is only a crime because there's demand for it, and the United States is leading that demand. So it is very important to talk to our kids about these types of things that are happening. And right now they're being vulnerable because these pedophiles and these traffickers are online. They have an easy open access and window of opportunity for our children.
I know a lot of people think when they hear human trafficking, they're thinking, well, somebody's kidnapping somebody, somebody's throwing them in the van. It's not that. It's literally just it's people you know. It's people that introduce you to other people. Am I correct?
That is so correct. Yes. So does the whole white van thing and the kidnapping and then getting trafficked exist? Absolutely. Those things do happen, but it's not the common form of human trafficking or any type of abuse, child exploitation. The most common form comes through either familial trafficking, romance, right? The guy or the woman perpetrate, acting like the boyfriend and the girlfriend when they have another agenda in mind for that person. Those really are the most common forms of luring victims into this horrible crime. And I try to stay away from, it's funny you say that because just today I received a video about someone talking about, like, if your windshield is up and you get out your car, they want to, someone's going to come and traffic you. And I don't want to say that that is false information, but I think that that information can also be misleading because it's taking your eyes away about the reality of what is truly happening, which is not windshield wipers and white vans.
Yeah, it's amazing to me because when I see people talking about this, that's what they talk about. The white vans and oh, if they put something on your tire or if,
Right.
this is what they're talking about. But I'm like, well, wait a minute, everything that I'm seeing from a legal point of view, these people are getting introduced to this life by people that they're friends with, who's bringing them in. The friends are actually recruiters for these people, and they're recruiting people on college campuses, on high schools campuses. I mean, even junior high school campuses to get these people involved.
That is correct. And that is why our program, Safe Schools, Safe Kids, Safe Communities, we focus on going into the schools because we want to reach the children where they are at. And we understand that when sometimes mom says, hey, don't do this, don't talk to a stranger online, that's the first thing, right? That sometimes kids want to go do because they're hearing it from mom and dad. But when they hear it from an organization like ours, when they hear it from the perspective of my story and other survivors of child exploitation that we have on our team, it just brings another level of reality and seriousness that the kids really tend to listen to. And they acknowledge and realize that, wait, maybe I am getting myself into a deeper, dangerous situation.
Tanya, while we have you here, I'm going to ask you a question that I didn't think I was going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you this question after what you just said. Let's talk a little bit about your experience, your trauma, and how did you know you were ready to lead other people once you get past that trauma?
That is such a great question. So I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I have a special case in the sense of I was abused in within the community that people deem the most safe, which is the church community.
Right.
And I was abused by the son of a pastor when I was a child. And that was extremely traumatic for me because my dad was a pastor. And so growing up in that church community was something that was so sacred to me. I mean, that's all I knew. Growing up, my entire world revolved around that. So having been traumatized in that setting was a very lonely experience because it's a place where you're not necessarily believed that those things can happen. But growing up, I try to do what most people I believe do in these types of trauma. We continue to live, we continue to try to thrive, but we kind of shun the trauma in and we block it in. But then there does come a time in our life where that trauma begins to try to like pump out, right? Because it's trying to get out of your body, is trying to get out of your system. And I did in my mid 30s, I completely crashed. I had a mental breakdown, a physical, mental, spiritual breakdown, in where I quit my job and everything that I knew, And then I started to sell jewelry inside of a parking lot where there was a local strip club here in Miami. And in that parking lot, I was selling jewelry for about 6 months. And 6 months in, the owner of the strip club comes out and says, "Hey, I prepared a table for you inside of the locker room. Why don't you go sell your jewelry where the girls get ready to dance?" So, I'm a believer and I believe in scripture. And there is a verse in the Bible that says that God will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. And that's exactly what the owner of the strip club said. He says, "I prepared a table for you." So when I walked into that strip club, not really knowing what I was going to encounter, that was the enemy that I did encounter. It was the enemy of human trafficking and child exploitation, where I met moms who were forcing their daughters to dance and then sell their bodies, where I met traffickers that would bring in gangs of girls, most sometimes from other states or from other parts of the country, to be forced to dance and then have to sell their bodies afterwards. And that's when I knew that God was showing me something that was so much greater than me. And he was showing me that what these what needed to happen is that these ladies needed an advocate. These ladies were what we called part of modern day slavery. And they needed someone to speak out for what was happening. And I just knew that with everything that I had been through and everything that I saw in those 2 years that I did do that for 2 years, and all the things that I encountered in that experience, that I needed to talk. I needed to be a voice and warn people of what was happening in these dark places.
That's powerful. That's really, really powerful because that puts you on the path that you needed to be on. That was your destiny
Right.
walk right there.
Right.
That
Correct.
that was your destiny walk right there. And now you're in these schools. I mean, you're in Miami-Dade, you're in Broward County. How do you get approved to get into schools to be able to do this? Because I think it should be all over the country, quite frankly.
Well, in an up note to that, in Florida, the schools are now mandated. I believe we were one of the first states in the country to mandate that human trafficking education would be taught in the schools. So we help schools meet that mandate. So in Broward County specifically, our curriculum has been vetted, so they know exactly what we're teaching the kids, what we're showing them, and how we instruct the class. So they feel very confident in the work that we're doing. So we feel really blessed to take on the responsibility of being that voice in the wilderness, really to keep our children safe, because all these children are our children. We
That's
have a
right.
responsibility
That's right.
to let them know that these things are happening. We can't just turn our eyes and shut our eyes away and turn a blind eye to what could be causing our next generation to be victimized.
Let me ask you this, Tanya. As parents listen to this show, what should they be looking for, or what should they be paying attention to that they may be missing that's showing that their child is being targeted or being groomed to get into this line of human trafficking or be human trafficked? What should they be looking for?
Well, for example, you want to see if your child is constantly talking to strangers online. On Roblox, for example, Roblox is becoming a huge issue when it comes to child exploitation, where pedophiles and people are disguising themselves as young kids, and in reality, they're criminals on the other side of that screen. So there are things, there's software, and there are things that parents can put in their child's computer, in their child's phones, to monitor the use of these types of activities that are happening inside chats, Instagram, social media, anyone can go into your DM, right, and say, "Hey, I'm Johnny and I go to your school," and just pretend like they're a friend, and in reality they're not. And they're just trying to, get a way in so that the child can trust them and then be able to corner them into a bad situation. It's really about monitoring our kids, and it's okay to say, "Hey, I pay for your cell phone. You
Right.
live under this house. Hello." Because I think a lot of times we've forgotten those basic things that our parents used to tell us, right? You know, you live under this house. I pay the bills. I pay the cell phone. I have a right as a parent to be responsible for you, to keep you safe. So I need to monitor your online activity.
You know, I tell people this all the time about raising children. I tell the story of my mother. I tell the story. I may have been 15 years old, and I was like, "Hey, I'm closing my door because I need some privacy." Now, my mother is black and Puerto Rican. Well, she was black and Puerto Rican, so
Puerto Rican right here, so trust me, I get it. I get it.
my mother wasn't trying to hear that. She took the door off of my room and was like, I pay the bills here. There is no privacy here. You are just here because I allow you to be here. So no, there is no privacy here because I'm your mama. I'm gonna know everything you doing, whether you like it or not. But it was the greatest gift that she gave me because literally by her doing that, it stopped me from doing a lot of stupid stuff that my friends were doing.
Great. And that's all we can do. That sometimes that's all we can do. But there is a lot of things. First of all, also parents need to continue to affirm their children.
Yeah.
So if you think about this, so in our in school workshops, we've surveyed this year alone, this semester alone, over 200 kids. And out of those 200 kids, we had 150 kids confess to us that they feel lonely, right?
Mm.
Children, listen to this, just like adults, children, just like adults, when they're missing something, whether is they're feeling a void, they're feeling lonely, they're trying to replace either their real life issues, they get involved into a computer, they get involved into a relationship to escape reality. So you'd be surprised how even loneliness can play a factor into why is your child talking to strangers online? Why do they feel that they have to seek friends outside of their real circle of friends or their familial circle of friends, right? To fill that void that they're looking for. So it could even be something as simple as continuing to affirm your child and let them know that they are loved, they are wanted, they are seen, and that they have value. And I will never forget the story of a survivor that we met through another organization that said the one word that hooked her to her trafficker was, well, the one phrase was, "I'm proud of you."
Wow.
She had never heard her parents or anyone in her life tell her, "I am proud of you." And the minute that this girl was lured and deceived into doing something for that trafficker told her, "I'm proud of you." And that
Wow.
was the hook. That was the hook. So even things that we don't even think about, like affirming your child, loving your child, are things that can be conducive to making them go into another direction.
Let me ask you this. You've done campaigns with the NFL and national campaigns. What was those experiences like?
Well, those were actually really fun. That was through another organization that I worked for. I was their US campaign director for about 3 or 4 years, traveling to wherever the Super Bowl was going at. So I started in 2019 when the Super Bowl was here in Miami. And I ended that about 3 years ago. And it was such an amazing experience. One of the things that I loved was that there were some great NFL players that really lended their voices to this cause. And I think that it's very important to be able to lend your platform to bring awareness to such an issue like this. But it is also sad that it isn't until we put a familial face, right, on a poster that people then want to look at it. But we were super blessed and grateful that those athletes were so much more than willing to lend their platforms to allow us to amplify the message of prevention and awareness on human trafficking.
Let me I want to kind of switch gears just a little bit, just a little bit. You go into these schools, you go into these correctional facilities. What's the one thing that you're looking for when you go into these correctional facilities? And when you leave a school or you leave a correctional facility, what do you take out of there with you?
So with the correctional facilities, that's a little bit more difficult. That is through the Human Trafficking Task Force here in South Florida. And due to the policies and the policing inside of the jail establishment, correctional facility, we don't get to interact that much with. But what we have seen is we have seen kids along with inmates, women inmates specifically, because we go into the women correctional facilities, be triggered because this is something either that they have experienced in, in their life, and with the children something that they might be currently experiencing. So we have seen where in the schools we've given our presentation and we see kids start to cry. We do see triggers of trauma that begin to kind of boil up with the children. That is when we invite the school counselors and the teachers to be part of our program, so that when they see these triggers, they can immediately take action, and begin to have conversations with the student. So we have seen triggers, trauma triggers, in what's happening in the correctional facilities, which is the reason why the Human Trafficking Coalition started this program, is that these traffickers know that when a woman gets out of a correctional facility, a lot of times they come out without their IDs, jobless, homeless, right?
Right.
So it's the perfect opportunity for them to come in and offer them a roof, a home, food, and offer to bring them into the lifestyle. So that is why they felt deemed for a group of us to go in there and start to give them these awareness, so that when they walk out of the facility, um we've known that literally the traffickers are standing right outside of the doors as they're walking out, like on release day. They're
Wow.
standing right there, just ready to catch a victim. So that's really what's happening, and what motivated the coalition to go in and start educating inside the correctional facilities.
Let me ask you this. We got about 2 minutes left, but what's the one law? As somebody who's went to law school, practiced law for 15 years as a lawyer, what's the one law you see that you would say, hey, we need to change this law when it comes to human trafficking?
Well, fortunately, there has been a lot of laws recently. Well, not as of recent, but one of the major shifts in the laws in human trafficking was that in the state of Florida, particularly, um, a child under the age of 18, regardless of whether or not they were being transported, is automatically deemed a human trafficking case.
Wow.
Right? So that was a big win for the state of Florida, and I'm not sure if other states have adopted that law. But in under the age of 18, you don't have to prove anything. It's automatically deemed human trafficking. What I do believe that does need to change when it comes to laws is that um we need to change online and internet rights for companies. uh we need to make sure that softwares and companies such as Pornhub or what's this other one that's really famous now for pornography, that they have very strict policing software in their systems, right? To make sure that one, kids aren't getting on there to view these types of things, and two, that traffickers aren't using the platform to sell their victims, which we know has happened. There's been cases, for example, in porn hubs where you're paying a fee to watch a video, a porn video, and what you're really watching is a true rape situation that is
Wow.
happening. So I think that there's laws that need to be enforced when it comes to the internet, online pornography, and also stricter laws when it comes to social media, which I know that, for example, Instagram just changed some of their enforcements when it comes to teen accounts and things like that. So there are things that are slowly happening, but I think they need to move a little bit more quicker.
Before we get out of here, real quick, give us where they can follow the organization and where they can follow you.
Sure. So we are on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook at the Mavuno Project. And that is M as in Mary, as in Apple, V as in Victor, U as in Uncle, N as in Nancy, O as in Oscar, the Mavuno Project on all of those social media platforms. And you can also find us on our website at themavunoproject.com.
Tania, thank you so much for being with us today on Common Ground. Thank you guys for listening to Common Ground. I'm Warren Ballentine, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.